Previously on For the Worthy. And today, I'm going to be doing my first ever Master Mode playthrough using the For the Worthy sequence sequence. In the last video, I started my journey through For the Worthy Master Mode, dying tons of times, slowly growing more powerful, and making my way through the bosses in pre-hard mode. Now that we're in hard mode, we'll have to see how hard it truly gets. Will I die over 200 times? Will I even beat the game? It's time to find out if I can even beat Terraria For the Worthy. But first, if you aren't subscribed and you like this video, make sure to go do that and touch on that like button. Or if you don't like me, you can give it a dislike, it's all good to me. Alright, let's get right into it. Starting right where we left off, I open up the bag from the Wall of Flesh and grab ourselves a warrior emblem and a demon heart. We head down to the Crimson and spawn some palladium, orichalcum, and adamantite. I go straight for mining them up. Unfortunately, however, I die to the new hard mode mushroom enemies, giving us our first hard mode death. And oh boy, there will be so many more. We finish mining the adamantite and I jump straight into a black recluse, really off to a fantastic start. I craft myself a full set of melee adamantite armor before heading over to the snow biome and spawning a blizzard to start chopping away at the ice golems. I grab myself a lucky godly amarok while doing so, and I run straight into a crim slime. Down in the dungeon, I find and free the wizard, grabbing a crystal ball before heading back to the snow biome and dying quite a bit. We almost die while down in the caves, but I managed to make it out and craft the queen spider staff, and then finally, we managed to get ourselves an ice feather. Jesus. I do die to the first wyvern we fight, but we take down the next ones and we can craft our first pair of wings with the frozen wings. This slime bounces on my yo-yo, riding it straight into me.
Hey, yo, what?
And I head down to keep mining away in the hallowed. I'm making some long areas to increase the chance for a skeleton merchant to spawn, as well as mimics. After getting killed by another slime, we find the merchant, who didn't even spawn on my platforms, and buy up our yo-yo glove and a counterweight, crafting ourselves a yo-yo bag. With these upgrades, I decided to go for our first hard mode boss, summoning the Queen Slime, and slowly chipping away with our powerful yo-yo setup, eventually getting her to the second phase. And even though I take some stray hits from her bullet hell projectiles, I hit some crazy dodges. I might be the best ever. Or not. I take out a hallowed mimic and get ourselves a flying knife and immediately run it back on the Queen Slime. This time I perform like a mad woman and we take her out incredibly easy. Slay, Queen. We place down our new relic and open the bag, getting ourselves the Queen Slime mount. On our next fight, I end up trying to heal, but the Queen Slime TPs onto us, killing me and the nurse, sorry. And as I respawn, I don't realize she's still here, and she teleports right onto me once again, ending in an instant death. This time I'm prepared as she still hasn't despawned, but I didn't last long and she finally disappears. We then take out another Queen Slime without getting what I want, and as I head down to the hallowed, a rogue Tim blasts us into a bat, taking us out of the world. And finally, with another Queen Slime down, we get ourselves the Blade Staff. The other item I was looking for, and one that will stay with us for a long time. Once the night rolls around, I start prepping my platform for a fight with Skeletron Prime. I did not know the horrors that awaited me. I head back down to the caves and we manage to grab a poison staff, and we finally use our frost cores to craft ourselves a full set of frost armor. This will help us spread our damage across multiple classes. I end up dying in the caves again thanks to a rogue jelly. A wyvern swoops in to give us some love, and we pop our buffs and spawn our blades, summoning Skeletron Prime again. I keep some good distance with my yo-yo and do some nice dodging, progressing much further this time before we get smacked and knocked into Skeletron's spinning head. Unfortunate. Jesus, these slime do not care that I'm attacking them, what? Then, while fighting another mimic, it falls down my elevator and I never see it again. Thank you, game. Very cool. We die to a bat, take out another mimic getting a crystal vial shard, a skeleton hits me with the Dwayne special, I die to another bat who died at the same time, get another crystal vial shard, and finally, as the blood moon rises, I decide to summon the twins. Against the twins, I focus on using my repeater to keep my distance, as Spasmatism's second phase could easily take us out if we aren't careful. But since I'm super epic, we get Spasmatism super low very quickly. I guess the twins paid off Studio Ghibli, because right after Spasmatism goes down, a wyvern spawns to replace him in the fight, so I have to go into hyperdrive and dodge every single one of their attacks, taking out the wyvern, and we get Rednizer down to phase 2. But as I get Rednizer super low, I end up dropping down and can't recover back to my platform fast enough, getting taken out by a dash right at the end of the fight.
That's so annoying.
I forgot to unpause the recording, but don't worry, I spotted it right after we died to the next attempt. I somehow died to a mimic. I'm just losing it today, apparently. And then we died to a spider before I set up a little AFK area while I had to leave. Luckily, we didn't die to any Terraria shenanigans. I take out the wall of flesh again to grab myself another emblem, swapping it in the shimmer over to a ranger emblem for the extra bit of damage. And as the night hits, we spawn the twins once more. The extra damage does let us speedrun the fight, getting Spasmatism low in his second phase, but he hits us with a bad dash, and we just barely manage to live as I teleport away to heal. And then I accidentally let them despawn. Great. Not wanting to wait for the next night, I just summon them again during the same night. Being extra careful this time, we take out Spasmatism, and with 2 hours left to finish the fight, we can just focus on Retinizer. Once he gets down to his second phase, I get in the little home I built up here and use it to cheese the boss using the Firecracker and Nimbus Rods. But as it hits 4 AM, I realize that I'm not going to beat him in time, so I have to run out of the hut and start actually fighting the boss, luckily finishing the twins off with just a few seconds to spare. First mech boss down, so we of course place down that relic as the solar eclipse immediately begins. As the solar eclipse bombards us with enemies, I grab some magic arenas and begin constructing our massive arena for the rest of the playthrough. Stacking up multiple of these bad boys, but then we do get hit with a long string of deaths thanks to the solar eclipse enemies consistently one-shotting me. Finally, the eclipse ends and we can work on cleaning up the walls of the arena, expanding it further and heading to the dungeon to grab some dungeon brick. I die to a blue slime. In hard mode? Yeah. Finishing up the arena, I spread our few buff stations throughout, and once night hits, I'm ready to take on Skeletron Prime again. That dungeon brick I grabbed was specifically for this fight. He can destroy the platform, sure, but it just makes my life way easier if he cannot destroy the ground and walls in my arena. This attempt goes way better than all the previous, most likely thanks to this crazy arena. We get his laser arm down and I switch all of my attention onto his head for the rest of the fight, as to not waste any time. We get him super low and then we take him out without breaking a single sweat. It's amazing what a massive arena can do for you. I quickly repair my arena and then go place down our new relic. While collecting some fallen stars, I ride my unicorn straight into a stealthy little wyvern, and then I place down a home in our hallowed biome. And when the next night hits us, I summon forth the Destroyer. I was expecting to have a lot of issues with this fight like I normally do, but luckily the Daedalus Stormbow I had just obtained, combined with Holy Arrows, is still just too powerful for this stage of the game. The fallen stars easily deal with the swarms of droids with any that miss hitting the Destroyer himself. He does drag me towards the top of the arena at some point, which is not a smart play for him as I use the extra space he couldn't attach to wisely, dodging attacks for the rest of the fight and quickly dismantling the big worm. We place down our final mech boss relic and celebrate this progression by immediately mining a ton of chlorophyte and life fruit. Now this was pretty funny. I accidentally left vein miner on for these beehives and I managed to spawn like at least 100 of these little freaks. I didn't want to die to the swarm of bees this deep into the playthrough, so of course I teleport my ass right out of there. And after our mining expedition, I managed to make it out with 7 life fruit, a yellow Yo-Yo, and 178 chlorophyte bars, which is more than I know what to do with. I craft myself a shot bow and I take out another set of twins so I can finally upgrade to a full set of hallowed armor. I grab a Contaminator so that I could head over to my jungle and purify it once more so that I can have my pylon back. And I attempt to destroy her again, but he takes me out super quickly. I think it's because I wasn't using the broken holy arrows this time. While farming Ichor in the Crimson, a mimic comes flying through the walls and kills me in one hit before I even notice it. I go ahead and craft a ton of Ichor arrows. We end up dead back in the jungle and I take out another Skeletron Prime. I craft myself the True Excalibur and I move my knight down to the mushroom biome. I die in the Crimson while doing some grinding, but I used that gold to go ahead and buy some truffle worms. With the massive arena now replacing my ocean, I prepare to fight the old Duke. I throw the truffle worm in and buff up as FIshron spawns. Using the Daedalus Stormbow and Ichor arrows, just like in my bows only playthrough, I get the old man to his second phase both quickly and easily. His second phase isn't too bad either, but once we get him down to that last phase, he ends up off screen, which throws me off so hard that I forget the pattern of his dashes and just end up dead super quick. An unfortunate death, but we run straight back into the second attempt trying to use the shot bow this time, but eventually I just switch back to the Stormbow and we get him to his third phase once again. Using the shot bow for this phase to get consistent hits, we take out FIshron on the second try and we open the bag. We got it, baby. I only really wanted 2 items from this fight, and this was one of them. The tsunami is going to carry us hard. Of course, we have to go place down our new relic, and after that, I head to the jungle and expand our arena in preparation for Plantera. Look at that masterful timing. We clear out most of the platforms, and I buff up before spawning Miss Plantera herself. This fight is never the worst for me. Usually, I'm pretty powerful at this stage of the game, and this time is no exception. With the tsunami and Ichor arrows, we blast through her first phase like it's nothing, and even with her new speed and thorns, her second phase falls just as quickly. We place down the relic and start heading towards our jungle temple. This might have been the biggest hurdle in the entire playthrough. I'm not even joking. As you can see, the temple is incredibly dark, making it hard to see almost anything. I end up dying to some traps right here, but I do make it to Golem's altar fairly quickly. I had no idea what to expect, so I went ahead and summoned it, expecting the tsunami to deal with Golem super easily. Oh, I was wrong. I was so very, very wrong. After a bit of tilt, I decide to leave and take out another FIshron, where I luckily get a set of FIshron wings. Awesome, that is the other item I wanted, but at this point I'm looking for one more. A couple more fishies go down and we grab ourselves the Tempest Staff. I thought that maybe this would do a bit better against Golem. Let's see how that goes. At this point, my altar room is just way too small for this fight, so I go and farm out a solar eclipse to pass the time. I eventually grab myself a broken hero sword and end up dead to this barely alive psycho. This has happened to me so much this playthrough, but it's okay. I craft the Terra Blade and then the Eclipse enemies just continuously beat me down. I get sniped by this laser, I get trick-shotted by this nailhead, this deadly sphere doesn't understand boundaries, this Mothron breaks my ankles, and then she breaks into my house and poisons my water supply. Wait, what? That's not right. After the Eclipse, I decided I needed an armor upgrade, so I start making my own mushroom biome, and after it spreads, I create a nice floating house where the truffle moves in almost immediately. We of course buy the auto hammer from him and start crafting a bunch of shroomite bars, letting us create the shroomite armor set with the bow helmet. At this point, I'm trying everything for Golem. I'm painting the walls with illuminant paint, flattening them, and then I still end up dying to the puny little bastard. I just can't dodge in this room. After that last death, I was getting pretty annoyed, so I literally looked up how to make a hoik, which was mad confusing, but I eventually just brute forced it and got myself outside of the temple to place a much larger arena to fight Golem in. We summon him up and book it straight to our hoik exit when, while it is still super dark, at least I have room to dodge. Not that it matters when I still take the dumbest hits known to all of humanity and die before he goes to his second phase. At some point, I managed to get a crimson key apparently, so I went over to the dungeon and popped that sucker open, grabbing myself the vampire knives. I will literally never use these. I make an easy teleporter down to the jungle arena and I start another fight with Golem, and this time it went so well right until he had 4,000 HP and I died again and again. Without changing a single thing besides painting this one section of my wall, I fluked Golem, and it was easy. It was easy. I hate this boss. I hate him so much. Put the fucking relic down. Next up, I wanted to take on the Empress of Light to try and get her expert relic, but of course this is probably the fight I'm worst at in the game, since I've barely done it, as you can tell here. But on my second attempt, I do manage to get her down to the second phase pretty quickly, but I immediately take bad hits, and then that damn 3-hit combo almost takes me out. I lived until I didn't. I get rid of some extra platforms in my arena and take her on a third. Okay, the Lunatic Cultist. This fight can't be too bad. I just take the Cultist for a joyride along my platforms, making sure to stop and hit the right clone when he does his little circle. Overall, a fairly easy fight, which was a nice change of pace. We summon the Celestial Pillars, and I place down the Cultist Relic. We start with the Vortex, where I actually end up making a lot of good progress without much trouble, but I decide to head back home for some reason. I don't know why. And we head over to the Stardust Pillar using the Cell strategy to completely deplete its shield and taking out the pillar itself with absolutely no deaths. With one death. I make sure to craft the 2 Stardust summons back at home for a massive power boost. I'll be using the dragon from now on, but hey, if you haven't seen my tier list, make sure not to sleep on the Cell Staff, she's pretty good too. The Vortex Pillar apparently wasn't too happy that I left it hanging high and dry, so its minions decided that it was time to chug some G Fuel and start doing some crazy Pro League strats. But eventually, we take them down after a grueling set of matches, and I craft up the 2 Vortex weapons, making the bow my new main weapon of choice. Nebula Pillar time! Okay, that wasn't nearly as bad as the Vortex. We grab our Nebula Dust and craft both of the weapons. I won't be using either of them, but the Blaze is a personal favorite of mine. Alright, it's time for everybody's favorite pillar. Everybody's favorite. Stop, please. Come on, that was the turtle. Please, dear God, why? Oh hey, it's over. With all the pillars down, impending doom approaches, and we wait as the Moon Lord spawns, and, you know, that's about what I expected. Since I still had some bosses to defeat, I decided to start grinding them up. Starting with the Empress again, we managed to get through her first phase, and oh wow, I actually did it. I don't know what happened. But we grab her relic and I don't even end up using the soaring insignia, because I'm built different, I guess. Not built different enough though, as I die to another one while using my last spawner. I wanted to just burn through some of my leftover spawners to get some money, so enjoy as I just blow through a ton of queen slimes. Like so many, wow. Look at them just go. Next up on the list was the events, so I grab myself a pumpkin medallion and we spawn up the moon. I make it through incredibly easily, taking out these morning ones like a and when the pumpkin spawns, we do the same thing. The Phantasm is just way too good, and we make it through the entire night, getting all the way to wave 16 without a single death. We place down the 2 spooky relics and head straight into the Frost Moon during the next night. The Everscream stood no chance. I had them screaming like a Stop that. The sand tanks all exploded in no time, and the ice queens were no match for my OP in-game gear. We hit wave 15, and this present kills me. I was really hoping to go deathless for this one too, but it's okay. We place down our 3 Frostwing relics, and the pirates are up next. Cutting through them like butter, we take out some Flying Dutchmans and grab ourselves the next relic. Next up is an event I literally never do, like ever. I just find it a bit boring, and honestly, I don't really know if it's that worth it. But the Old One's army does have 3 relics for us to get, so we have to dive in. The first one is incredibly easy to obtain since the Dark Mage spawns so early, but even then I somehow managed to die to a Draken projectile. I wasn't expecting to die to this event, but here we are. We place our Mage relic and head right back in, but this time I went for a full summoner loadout using the Dark Harvest, Stardust Dragon, and Tiki armor. And while this setup is great, I still get one shot if something touches me. Oops. We make it back to wave 6, and I take on the dastardly ogre that stands before us as he slowly walks forward, and I mean slowly. Our summons just take him out, but also Betsy spawns right at the start of the next phase, and I didn't expect that at all. She does end up killing us. We place the ogre relic down, and Betsy takes us out 1 more time, and 2 more times. Oh, make it 3. This time I just ended up losing on wave 5 and dying right before the enemies despawned. Man, what? Fed up with the Old One's army, I grab some Moonlord spawners and start grinding him out. Our first attempt doesn't go fantastic. We try and keep some distance, but for some reason I teleport home and he just takes us out there. After building a house for the nurse, we go in for another attempt, which ends even earlier into the fight. Then he kills us while I try to heal like an asshole. Rude as hell. Next attempt is going great until I hit the end of the world and need to teleport back where I time it right into his big old laser. Awesome. Another death while trying to heal. They sure don't make it easy to cheese this boss, do they? A few more deaths to his laser, and then once again, the magic happens. With the final shots of the Phantasm piercing the Moonlord's core, I have officially beaten the game. But not really, because I still need 2 relics, baby! We place down the Moonlord's relic right in the middle of our shrine and open the bag, getting ourselves the Star Wrath and, more importantly, the Terrarian. The key to finishing out this playthrough swiftly. I go to grab some more life fruits and... Okay, what? Well, these turtles just hate me. After popping a ton of life fruit, we head over to the Tavern Keep and I decide to buy the Valhalla Knight armor. Not only for its insane tanking potential, but because it also buffs sentries as well as melee, which will be very important soon. We take out our second Moonlord and get the Lunar Flare and another Star Wrath, and then we start throwing as the Moonlord hands us 2 more deaths, and look, I healed at the same time, man. But we do take out the next one, and he gives me what I was looking for, the Lunar Portal Staff. This thing is crazy strong, and we definitely need it to get that dumb dragon out of this game and into our shrine. But not before 3 more Moonlord deaths, another Star Wrath, a 4th Star Wrath, and a 5th one! Seriously? Done with getting Star Wraths, I finally get prepared to finish the Old One's army. I place down 5 lunar portals, and combined with the melee buff helping our Terrarian, we just melt through the event. When Betsy spawns, I'm ready to take her out, and she does hit me a few times, but the Valhalla armor's crazy defense helps me live through it. And eventually, with our crazy in-game items, we take out Betsy and finish off the Old One's army. Oh wait, yeah, the Martian Invasion. We tickle some Martian probes, and I melt through the event waiting for the saucer to spawn. Once it does, he lines up right under all of my portals and literally dies in like 8 seconds. But as I finish off the Martian Invasion, I can finally place down the last relic.
We don't talk about the Eater of Worlds, that's not even a real boss, you're making that up?
And I can say I have officially beaten Terraria for the Worthy Master Mode. Thank you guys so much for watching part 2 of my For the Worthy playthrough. This was my first ever playthrough in Master Mode itself, so adding on that extra challenge of For the Worthy was a blast. And honestly, I don't think it was that much more difficult than a normal Master Mode run. Especially since I've been doing so many Expert Mode challenges, being able to use everything at my disposal was a wonderful treat. But I don't expect to be doing that again soon, at least not until the Get Fixed Boy video. Oh god. But again, thank you guys for watching, and let me give a quick shout out to my YouTube members. Thank you to Quackenstein, Cheesecake, and Grunge Weeaboo. Hope you guys enjoy, and have a great day. Love you guys.